Good morning class 12 students. So this is your subject physics, chapter number 12, that is atoms, and this is lecture number 3 of chapter 12. Okay, so yesterday you studied about Bohr's postulate. There were 3 postulates. So today, based on those postulates, we will be deriving out radius, velocity and frequency of electron in Bohr's stationary orbits. So first of all, let us begin with the radius of Bohr's stationary orbit. So to start with radius of Bohr's stationary orbits, first of all we will be using the second postulate of Bohr, which was that angular momentum of electron is equal to integral multiple of h upon 2 pi. That is mvr is equals to nh upon 2 pi. From here, first of all, calculate the V. So V will come to be NH upon 2 pi mr. Mark it, first equation. Okay. So now to calculate radius, we will be using first postulate, which was that centripetal force is equals to electrostatic force between nucleus and electron. So because Bohr's postulates, or you can say Bohr studied about hydrogen atom, so we will be considering hydrogen atom, for which Z will be 1. So putting Z equal to 1 and putting the value of V from first equation into this equation, you will get m upon r into V square, that is nh upon 2 pi mr whole square, is equals to E square upon 4 pi epsilon naught r square, because Z is 1. And if I put this 4 pi epsilon naught to be k, so it will become k E square upon r square. So from here, from this and from this, you can easily calculate r. That will come to be n square h square upon 4 pi square m into k E square. And remember, this is for hydrogen. Therefore, we have considered Z equals to 1. So now if you see clearly here, h is a constant, that is Planck's constant. 4 pi is constant. Mass of electron is constant, E is constant, and K is again a constant. That means radius of the Bohr stationary orbit is directly proportional to n square, or you can say square of principal quantum number. So from this ratio, if you calculate the radii of orbits in different ratios from this relation, so as you can see, radius is directly proportional to n square. So when n equal to 1, ratio will be 1, ratio 4, because 2 square will be 4. When n will be equal to 3, it will be 9. So the ratio, this radius of orbits will be in this ratio, that is 1 ratio 4 ratio 9. And as you can see clearly, the orbits are not equally spaced. That is, the electrons are revolving in the orbits, but all those orbits are not equally spaced. Instead, the spacing goes on increasing between the orbits. Okay, so this was all about radius of Bohr stationary orbit. Now we will be calculating the velocity of electron in these orbits. Okay, so to calculate radius, what we did, we used Bohr's second postulate. We calculated r from there and we put the value of r in Bohr's first postulate, right? Now to calculate velocity, we will be doing opposite. Just we will be using Bohr's first postulate. From that we will be calculating r and we will be putting this value of r in second postulate. Okay, so again mv square upon r is equals to k E square upon r square. This you know, because again I have taken z equal to 1. From here calculate r, that will come to be k E square upon mv square. Mark it, first equation. Now again using Bohr's second postulate, that is mvr is equals to nh upon 2 pi. In this, put the value of r from first equation. So mv into r, that is k E square upon mv square, will be equal to nh upon 2 pi. From here, this v will cancel out with 1v. So we will be calculating v from here. So the velocity of electron will come to be 2 pi k E square upon nh. Now again 2 pi is a constant, k is a constant, E is a constant, h is also a constant. So you can say velocity is inversely proportional to n, or you can say orbital velocity will be lesser in outer orbits. Obviously, as n goes on increasing, velocity will go on decreasing. Okay, so now see the value of 2 pi k E square upon hc. This value is 0.0073. So if you remember this value, And if we want to write the velocity in form of this, so just multiply and divide here by c. So you will get v is equals to c by n into alpha, right? So now if in any numerical you have to calculate the value of velocity, you know the value of alpha, you know the value of c. According to the given value of n, you can easily calculate v. So remember this value, okay? So up till here we have concluded that radius is directly proportional to n square and velocity of electron in particular orbit is inversely proportional to n. Now let us see the frequency of electrons in these orbits. So to calculate frequency of electrons in these orbits, we will be using V is equals to R omega, and as you know, omega is nothing but 2 pi nu. So from here V will come to, nu, we have to calculate because frequency, so nu will come to be V upon 2 pi R. Okay, now you know the value of V from above formula, so just put the value of V. So nu will come to be K E square upon N R H. So if you take first orbit of hydrogen atom and you calculate the values, then the value of R will come to be 0.53 into 10 to the power minus 10 meters by the formula which we have calculated for radius in your first formula that we have calculated. Okay, so now if you put n equal to 1 and R equal to this much, you will see the value of frequency will come to be 6.57 into 10 to the power 15 revolution per seconds, because see n and R you will keep these values and H, K, E, you know all these values. So you can say as you go on further in the stationary orbits, the frequency will become smaller because from here you can see nu is coming inversely proportional to n. Okay, so after calculating frequency, let us calculate the total energy of electrons in the stationary orbit. So if you remember from previous lectures, we have calculated the value of E, that is total energy, by adding potential energy and kinetic energy, which came to be minus Ze square upon 8 pi epsilon naught R. Okay, and just now you have calculated the value of R, that has come to be n square h square upon 4 pi square m into kze square. So what you have to do, just put this value of R in the value of E. So when you will put here, E will come to be minus k square z square e to the power 4 2 pi square m upon n square h square. So I am writing this general formula, therefore I have put z here instead of 1. Okay, and this value you have calculated in your previous lectures. Okay. Now, and one more thing, we have calculated this value by using Bohr's first postulate only, that is centripetal force was equals to electrostatic force. Okay, so now if you again see here, you know all the values, that is K, E, 2, pi, M and H. We know all the values. So when you will put all these values, so E will come to be minus 13.6 Z square upon N square electron volts. So if we talk about the hydrogen, again for hydrogen, Z will be equal to 1. So for hydrogen, the energy will come to be minus 13.6 upon N square electron volt. Okay, so from here you can conclude, if you are talking about the ground state of hydrogen atom, that is when N equal to 1, this energy will be equal to minus 13.6 electron volt. So that means the minimum energy required to free the electron from ground state of hydrogen atom will be 13.6 electron volts. Okay, so now let us discuss about origin of spectral series. In yesterday's lecture, I told you about atomic spectra, and I told you when we divide those spectral lines in different groups, what we get is called spectral series. So today we will be discussing those spectral series and their explanation according to Bohr's model. Okay, so as you know, according to the third postulate of Bohr's, the emission or absorption of radiation or energy only takes place when the electron goes from one energy state to another. Okay, so if the electron is going from any excited state to lower state, that is from outer state to lower state, the radiations will be emitted obviously. So let us take that electron is going from n equal to 2 to n equal to 1. E2 is the energy in second state and E1 is the energy in first state. So can you tell me what amount of energy will be emitted here when electron makes this transition from n equal to 2 to n equal to 1? Obviously it will be the difference, that is E2 minus E1, that will be equal to h nu. This you have also studied in your Bohr's third postulate, right? So now as we have calculated the value of E today, so just put the value of E here. So E2 will be minus k square z square e to the power 4 2 pi square m upon n2 square h square. N2 because we are talking about second state here. Similarly, E1 will be same, on minus minus will become positive, and instead of N2 we will be having N1. So this will be equal to h nu. Now taking the common terms outside, inside you will be left with 1 upon N1 square minus 1 upon N2 square, that will be equal to hc by lambda. So I have just put nu equal to c by lambda. From here, if you calculate 1 by lambda by taking hc to the left hand side, so 1 by lambda will come to be k square z square e to the power 4 2 pi square m upon, here you have h square, when you will take hc this side, so it will become h cube c into 1 upon n1 square minus 1 upon n2 square. Okay, so now if leaving this z only, you take all the factors, their value comes to be 1.097 into 10 to the power 7 meter inverse, and this value is also called R, that is Rydberg's constant. Okay, because its value is a constant, so it is defined as Rydberg constant. So now if you substitute this value to be R in this formula, that will become 1 by lambda is equals to z square R into 1 upon n1 square minus 1 upon n2 square. Again for hydrogen, by putting z equal to 1, you will get same formula and no z will be there for hydrogen. Okay, so now this formula is also called empirical formula. Okay, and through this you can calculate the wavelength emitted. Okay, so now according to this formula, Bohr explains various series which were observed. So let us discuss various series. So there were 5 series which we will be discussing one by one. So first was Lyman series. Okay, so Bohr concluded that when electron comes to first state from any other outer state, that time the wavelengths that are emitted are called, or they are in Lyman series. Okay, and they were observed in UV region of hydrogen atom. Okay, so because electron is coming to first state from any other outer state, so N1 will be 1 here, and I am putting N2 to be 2 only. So this N can vary from 2, 3, 4 and so on. Again, this is called empirical formula. So this is about Lyman series. Second is Balmer series. Now it was said that when electron comes to second state from any other outer state, then the wavelengths which are emitted are in Balmer series, and it was seen in the visible region of hydrogen atom. And because electron is coming to second state, for this N2 will become 2, your N1 will become 2 and N square, and N can vary from 3, 4, 5 and so on. So always remember, here you will be putting that state to which electron is coming. Okay, for example, if it is coming from 5 to second state, so N will become 5, and here because it is coming to second state, it will remain 2. Okay, similarly there was a third series which was Paschen series, and it was again said when electron comes to third state from any other outer state, then the wavelengths emitted will be in Paschen series, and it was seen in infrared region of hydrogen atom. Again, the whole formula is same, just here we will be putting 3, and obviously here this N will be varying from 4, 5, 6 and so on, because obviously to come to 3 it has to come from some outer state, that is from either 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 etc. Fourth is bracket series, which is when electron comes to fourth state, so therefore this will be 4, and it is also seen in IR region, and here N will be varying from 5 to 5, 6, 7 and so on. Okay, so the last is Pfund series, which was again observed in IR region of hydrogen atom, and for this electron will come to fifth state from any other outer state, so there you will be putting 5 and here it will be N, and obviously now you can tell this N will be varying from 6, 7, 8 to so on. Okay, so this was all about spectral series on the basis of Bohr's explanation. Okay, so after going through today's lecture, you can do question number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10 from your NCERT book and chapter number 12.